身为 Gen Z 的创业者，我们会更灵活。
我们还年轻，所以有很多 energy 可以来拼。
我觉得他不是很 Gen Z， 我有看过他骂人，2个小时多的还没有笑。
我爱我的老板。
很 slay，
善良。
scary sometimes.
I think he has an intimidating demeanor sometimes.
We love you, though.
Hello， 我是 Dominic， 我是98年的，在我大学 Year 3的时候创办了巴嘎。我以前在理工学院念音乐的时候，当时我不知道怎么开始做音乐，所以我创业的时候是为了要帮这些比较年轻的音乐家跟歌手更快的让大家来听他们的音乐。Icebox、Lovelin、Regina Song、Shaza 这些 artist， 我们帮他们一起创造音乐。创办巴嘎的时候，全部赚到的钱是投回巴嘎里面，2年里只收到2-3千块。
那你会后悔吗？
不会啊，我们 Gen Z 创业的优点是我们还年轻所以有很多 energy 可以来拼啊。
我叫 Danielle， 我今年28岁，我是从24岁开始创业的。
那目前的收入状况如何？
基本可以经济独立。我觉得 Gen Z 更偏向展示自己，这个是真的。我觉得身为 Gen Z 的创业者，我们会更灵活，会有一些跨界合作，我们会更愿意去做这样的事情。在这间工作室开幕的时候我们其实把场地变成了一个画展，然后把它开放给所有有兴趣的人。从我的第一间公司做比较大的项目，到第2间公司是专门做家装，到后面我发现我还是比较喜欢偏创意、偏艺术型的工作，所以我就自己开始了这个家装公司。初创的时候投入的资金不多，可能你做了半年到1年，有新的人员进入，到后期办公室的扩大，每一步其实都会很担心，比如说资金储备是不是能够把你自己撑过6到12个月，后面如果遇到什么样的困难，我们再去解决它。
有一个 Gen Z 老板是什么样的体验？一个词语形容。
有趣，
亲切。
spontaneous，
Interesting.
很 slay，
善良。
adventurous，
Independent.
有时候会有点压力啊 scary sometimes.
I think he has an intimidating demeanor sometimes. We love you, Dom.
We are of the same generation, so sometimes it's a bit hard to draw a line.
This year we went to Bali to watch his concert, and we decided spontaneously also that we're gonna hike in this mountain. So yeah, I'd say adventurous because he was the one who initiated, even though none of us were like, hey, let's climb a mountain. It's mostly from him lah.
我是 Dom's 的 business partner， but 我不是 Gen Z， 我是 millennial。我觉得他不是很 Gen Z。
你觉得 Gen Z 应该是怎么样的？
比较好玩，比较not so serious，可是还可以做工啦。Dominic 很 serious， 我看过他没有笑的时候，2个小时多的 just stare at the screen。我们是做一个 skill base 的工作 ，so if you have more years of experience, is of course better. We want to appeal to 这种 Gen Z 的 audience， 就是hire Gen Z 的人哦。
我们现在有3个 full timer， 也有9个 part timer， 他们全部是 Gen Z 的。Some of the positives about working with Gen Zs is that they generally have a different outlook and perspective towards the music industry, the way that they observe trends and the different things that are working in the market. Because in music, like TikTok and Instagram, these platforms are basically what is going on in the market, what's taking off. So these Gen Zs are very in the know of that. Some of the harder times when we were dealing with Gen Zs sometimes struggle to have the same amount of perseverance. I think because earlier generations, they will maybe put through a lot more hardship in the earlier years. So that becomes like a norm in terms of working culture, right? But for Gen Zs, I think a lot more expectation from them is that the working environment it needs to be healthier, which is not wrong. And I think as employers, that's where we come in to be able to kind of like mediate and find that middle ground.
我们的员工每个世代都会有1-2个，蛮多元的。我们的承包商的年纪基本上在40岁以上，因为要把好的项目落地的话，施工上面的经验是非常重要的。虽然经验它不完全等于年龄，但是毕竟是有经历过很多个项目了，我觉得他们是很好的一个带头羊。Gen Z 可能会更偏自我一点，本身有一部分的设计师他就不太爱讲话，所以灵活办公的时候，有的时候你会完全找不到这个人。更年轻一点的员工，他可能会更敢想、更敢做，因为还没有被一些固定的思想或者经验去绑定，所以这个是我很欣赏的。
以前 at my old company，全部的人都是 like 一样的 age group，so everyone will be competing to reach the same goal at the same time. But in this place in Parka, I think it's less serious, less goal-driven. Everybody is more laid back, more chill. I would say that's the Gen Z attitude in them. But yeah, so it's something that I strive to achieve also.
It's very fresh. So when you think of production house, it's like an old man in the studio, that kind. But when you come to Parka, it's like, oh, wow, there's like younger faces now.
It's basically by use for use.
Yeah.
我觉得大家对 Gen Z 没有特别歧视，或者是有特别的感想，大家基本上是看成绩说话的。
沟通跟工作的态度是跟 Millennial 或其他比较经验多的人肯定是不同的。有时我也觉得比较容易要放弃了，但是是因为你经验做了很多东西，不要放弃的精神也是越来越多了。Like people being people, yeah, we always learn as we go.